Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about something I didn't even plan to do a video about this, but I was getting a lot of comments about this in the YouTube comment section, as well as over on Twitter while I was live streaming last night. People were like, hey, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What's going on? What's going on? And a lot of people are barely finding out that skill-based matchmaking Warzone, or SBMM Warzone, is shutting down. The entire site that we've used in a lot of our, spectating random series, we've used some of the information from that just because it's a little bit easier to use. That's one of the benefits of the site. It's kind of a little bit of running into issues. We're going to discuss kind of my overall thoughts and what are the other options available to you once the website's gone, because there's almost no chance that they're going to end up keeping the website going, and there are other options out there. So we're going to go ahead and explain those. If you do enjoy the video, learn something new, please do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're brand new, want to find your way back, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Let's go ahead and get into it. So pretty much it says Activision lawyers reached out and asked us to shut down the site before next Monday. We've tried to reach out to them, become partners with them to kind of build a relationship to keep the website alive. Now it's our last shot. And then he goes on to explain a little bit more on Twitter how the API usage is against the terms of service. He doesn't actually go into specific details of what part of the terms of service. Maybe they didn't, specify. But what we'll look at here is there is different options. Obviously, the website's pretty cool because it has all the different information. It shows the ranks and how strong your lobbies are. If I go to the leaderboard, I can click on random person. We can kind of look at their stats and we can kind of see how strong their lobbies are, or whatever the case is. There are lots of options where you can kind of look at and see what's going on with the individual stats, whether you have specific favorite players that you want to spectate, watch. There is a lot of functionality with the site, and I think that's what kind of has gotten a lot of people to really jump on board and enjoy this content, because it's really easy to digest and easy to absorb. So if I go over here and I look at the lobby, I can see how strong the lobby is. I can see who the players are. But one thing that the site doesn't tell you, and that it's not very open about, is that literally 99% of this information is not accurate when it comes to the actual KD. As a result of that, even though it says the accuracy is 100%, that is 100% false. There's not an asterisk next to it, because anyone who didn't opt into the API, so you can see OP marked here, we have Yeet, Devious, myself. If you go through any of these ones that opted back in, that means their API and their stats are available. Any of these ones without any kind of information next to them generally means that their API isn't open, so they're using old information. So before they did that little update a couple months back, if somebody was on a lower account, maybe they've improved, maybe they've gotten worse, whatever, their stats changed like this. I was able to look through one match, and there was able to find multiple people where instead of the KD of 1.2, they had a KD of 1.4 if we're looking at a different site. And that discrepancy of 20 points is pretty big, considering that can add up. Obviously, most scenarios is only going to be like a 0.05 difference, 0.02, very small. And in some cases, we won't have any of the data. So it's kind of one of those things where the site's using old information, outdated information, and it's claiming that it's accurate, which causes a lot of confusion, especially when people are like, well, I'm in this lobby, why does it say Diamond 3? Well, it's because the information isn't 100% accurate. It could be all diamonds, who knows? But it has the little breakdown system, and it breaks it down pretty simply. What a lot of people don't realize too with the site is it doesn't have the individual KDs right here, so people get very confused. Why am I in Diamond Lobby? I'm only like a 1.3 KD player. I shouldn't be in lobby with Aiden. That doesn't make any sense. Or whoever, whatever top streamer. A 1.14 KD puts you in the top 20%, which would make you a quote-unquote diamond player. To actually get into gold, you need to be like a 0.7 or something like that in terms of like your overall individual skill. Obviously, the lobbies are going to be different, but we're talking about individual stats of players, which can be broken down on the right side here. See the different categories. That's kind of how it breaks down, and the lobby ranks are based off of that as well, and it's only for the standard BR mode. So there's all that. So what's the problem? If all these other sites are doing the exact same thing, what is the problem? This is pretty much the only site currently. There was another site that was doing it, but they removed that instantly, as soon as they heard about this. There is a premium option here, right? There's two different premium options. We have the diamond option, which this is ad-free Discord role. That is pretty standard for most of the sites we're going to look at, because then that kind of removes any ads. If you have an ad blocker, it doesn't matter. You kind of get it for free anyways. But you can go ahead and support the individual content creator of the individual site, whoever's running it. And then they get support from you watching their ads, or you could pay them $3 directly, and that allows them to run the site because essentially they're doing it for free otherwise. What they did here is they actually offered another option. And if you guys have been paying attention to this site pretty closely, here's an example of what it looks like fully unlocked. So Iron has it fully unlocked because I guess he's a kind of a quote unquote VIP member. And it shows the different records. What's their high kill games, what other modes they play, what are their KDs in the individual modes, their recent distribution of games, their gulag percent. Applies a lot of good information, which is also available on other sites. But what they did is, after about a week of this being accessible to everyone, they decided to lock it, and then you have to become a legend or pay the $8 monthly, which is currently reduced, which the site's going to be gone. And then now you don't have to deal with that, right? So now when we go an individual player like OP Marked, it doesn't have it. See, you have to get premium to get those stats. And I think that's where this issue comes in, is that they were starting to charge for this information. So a couple examples we'll run through that actually provide a lot of the similar information. Obviously, this is like the Lobbies. This ranking here, this is arbitrary ranking that the site made up based off the information that is no longer accurate. It was accurate when the site first started, but obviously now they're running into some issues. So we have a few different sites here. The first one being Cod Tracker. This is probably the part of the Tracker network. And you can see they host multiple games. They got Modern Warfare, which includes Warzone, Cold War, which is the current Modern Warfare or current Call of Duty. We have Black Ops 4, World War II, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3. So they've been doing this a while, and this is their current business model, and they haven't got in trouble, and they do host and show stats, and they were showing full lobbies before they had that change. It also includes Fortnite, Valorant, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, General Call of Duty, Rainbow Six, Teamfight Tactics. They might even have more if I opened up the browser. But if we go to specific matches, we can go to specific matches in Warzone. Within this, we can click on a lobby. This is the one I did for spectating randoms. And then you can literally go through, and it's only going to show the ones that have reopened up their stats. It's not going to fill in these ones with old API because the old API is no longer accurate. It's either gone up or down. Some probably stayed the same, but there is inconsistency, which a little bit of inaccuracy here and there, not a big deal when, you know, about 95% of the players opt back in, but that's not the case. We're getting a small percentage, like a third of all players are opting back in to be able to have their stats seen. So pretty much all the data there is inaccurate unless you're looking exactly at your own. There's not 100% accuracy to anything unless this little thing is opened up. So for here, it says the average KD for the lobby was a 1.21, and that's from the visible players. Out of the 148 or 149, about 100 of them did not get processed because they're not opted in. So 1/3 is still visible out of the 148 players. The average team KD, that's all thrown off because these are essentially zeros. But you can see the distribution of the lobby and kind of what it looks like for the people that have opted back in so they can see their stats. Pretty straightforward. You can see how strong the lobby is. You can see what the general KDs are. And for the most part, higher KD players are probably going to opt in because they're more aware. But at the end of the day, that's your option. Then we also have this one, Warzone Ranked. It used to have a donate option, which allowed you to do something similar. They were kind of going the direction of the skill-based matchmaking Warzone, but they ended up taking a year off the road. And now we can kind of see, if we look at leaderboards, let's go ahead and look at OP Marked again. In this particular case, we can see his overall KD for the last 50 matches, which is pretty cool. He's had over 400 matches. His cumulative average for this entire season, season 2 of Cold War, is a 7.21. So his most recent games, KD is actually going up, and you can see it there. It was really high at the beginning because it wasn't a lot of matches, and then now it's kind of carrying over. The Gulag, his KD in the Gulag is dropping primarily because we got a stupid sniper Gulag. But overall, you can kind of see how it goes. It went down, a bad Gulag. When it goes up, a high skill Gulag. And that's kind of why they changed the Gulag, because they want to give lower skilled players a chance. Because obviously with the 9 KD in a neutral playing field, he's probably going to win about 70 to 80, maybe even 90% of his Gulags because he's a really good player. Win percentage, he's won 82% of his last 50 matches and has a cumulative win rate over here of the entire season. So this is pretty cool information, right? This site's not looking to get in trouble. They also have the headshot ratio. You can see your lobbies. You can see all these wins. Look at all those wins. Man, dude does not lose, right? When you're trying to win. So you have your gulag percentage, what modes and what weapons you do better in or worse. When you're playing with specific players, it shows the stats of who you play with, what their KDs are, what that stuff. You can look into different stats if you want. But a lot of the data, it's old API, so it's going to be outdated. That's why they have these little things here. Might be incomplete if you join the website later. You can ask them to look into it if you want more information. They'll kind of try and dig into it. Streamers, you can see what streamers you played against or with. If they happen to be in your lobbies, you can see that he played with a ton of people that ended up in their lobby. So whether he went against Thind or Tommy or Noobs or Jared FPS, Joe was in his lobby. It's kind of one of those things. And then you can link those profiles with the streamers. So there's a lot of useful information. You kind of see the kill death ratio. But again, prior seasons aren't going to be accurate because of that API thing unless you unlock them, and then they can go ahead and add them to the site so it doesn't just crash altogether. They have other stuff, individual loadouts. We've talked about this one. You can see the popularity of the entire community, what people are using in their loadouts. Way more information that's available over there. So it's not just, oh, they're exposing skill-based matchmaking, they're bad, you know. No, it's because they have that little premium feature. There is another option. If we go to CodStats.net, which you can see right here on the screen, this one even has a Warzone companion app, which a lot of people have probably done videos about this when this first came out. I can't remember. I think it's Overwolf. I don't remember what the heck the name of the company that runs this. So this one you can download. It's specifically for Windows only, and you can kind of go through here. So you can see the individual player skill in your lobby. You can see what their overall stats are within the match. Once you're loaded in and it's counting down, 60, 59, 58, all the way it's saying 148 out of 152 players, whatever. In that moment, it starts loading up all this information for people live within the match. So it'll pretty much tell you if there's a suspected cheater because maybe they have a 70 headshot ratio or they have like a 12 KD and insane amount of kills, no deaths, a brand new account like level 7. It'll tell you all that information. So it'll tell you suspicious players. See right here, 30 kills. KD ratio was 8. Headshots 10%, so that's not so suspicious unless they have it only set for chest. Then you gotta kind of look out for that player. You can see the damage rates, whether the suspicion, see it says low, high, whatever the case is, and then you can kind of get a good idea of what the lobby's looking like. And you can see all your individual performances, which were paid parts of the skill-based matchmaking Warzone. You can see the different streaks or any of that type of stuff. Gulag win rate, you can see it right here on the bottom. There's actually a little overlay you can put on your screen that'll tell you those stats so you can kind of see your score per minute, kills per minute, average lifespan, KD, whatever, number of matches you played in the session. You could set up all the different profile. So I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I really like the site. I was one of the first people that had access to the site, and I think the site offered a lot of, information in terms of what it is in the lobby, but overall, this accuracy is not accurate because if people didn't open their API, it's not going to be visible. So I can go ahead and click on Irrational, boom, it's going to have their KD, their wins, all that stuff, what their previous matches look like, whether they did 18 in a diamond, you can see the strength of the lobby. Damn, they went ham in that one. He was probably in a wager there against Aiden and Scummin. But either way, you can see kind of how the lobbies, damn, they slaughtered this Diamond 3 lobby, right? Like, oh, they only play bronze now. But that's a whole different story. They all won their gulags as well. But what you can see, it says 100% accurate, but there's a lot of people that don't have the thing next to their name. So this guy could be like a 0.8 right now, not a 0.33. Or he could be a 0.2 because he got bad, worse. Who knows, right? Like the data is not as accurate, and there's not really much you need to know other than your own information at the end of the day. But most people, they already have their API. Well, most people you probably want to look at, they probably have updated their API so you can actually look at their individual stats and see how good they are as a player. So I don't know. I think it does suck. I think this is the problem here. It's not that they're exposing skill-based matchmaking, which I think they brought a little bit more eyes to it, but I think their overall system was a little bit more confusing because people don't understand that you're a top 20% player if you have like a 1.1 KD. It's just, you're better than 80% of all players if you have a 1.1 KD. Whereas in COD, you're kind of brainwashed to think, hey, you got a 1.1, you're trash, get good, you know? But the data says that you're better than 80% of players. You're not a bad player. You're just obviously not in the top 10, top 5, top 1, top 0.1% of players, which would allow you to get into one of these other brackets where it's just insane numbers for what is available here, the top 0.1% for that legend status. So hopefully that did kind of clear up some things. You guys are going to have some other options. Obviously the site's going away, but this stuff's pretty cool. I've covered some of these details in further detail, and it is nice to be able to have data to support kind of your overall thoughts and feels when it comes to certain things. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, learned something new. If you did, please do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're brand new, want to find your way back, double check, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.